when you think about your story or presentation, do you start with the information available or do you start with the key message? So what do I mean by that? Most people actually use the way on the upper end, which is you just present whatever information you have, and then after you present all those facts and data, you try to come up with a conclusion. Okay, so I want to tell you, that is not the most effective way to structure a story. A good story does not begin with the opening and you think about the end. It's always the opposite. You want to think about the end and then you go back to the opening. Okay, why? Because let me ask you a very simple question. If now you are a movie director, you're about to put together a story. How would you put together the story? Would you start by the opening scene and think about the ending scene? Or do you think you would think about the ending scene and try to plan about the opening scene? I guess it should be pretty straightforward. You have to do the latter because we always say that we want to have a coherent story. And what do we mean by having a coherent story? Is that if every part of the content aligns with your conclusion. That's what I mean by coherent. Meaning, if you don't even know the conclusion of your story yet, your story would never be coherent. Okay, so of course, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you're not studying the facts and all of a sudden jumping into conclusions. Is you need to study all the facts, you come up with a conclusion, but after that, don't just show all the data you have researched and all the data you have seen. It has to have relevancy. Okay, and what I mean by relevancy is that part of information contributing to your conclusion. Okay, so I'm gonna have two questions for you. Number one, after you're gonna be presenting something, if I get to interview your audiences, what would you want them to say? You get the question? You present it, I'm gonna ask your audiences, what did you just heard? Then they're gonna say, oh, well, I heard about this and that. So are you able to articulate the version from your audiences? If you are even not able to articulate the version you hope them to remember, of course, they would not remember anything. Secondly, if you know that these are gonna be the takeaway from your audiences, then please think, based on all the content you're sharing, based on all the data you're sharing, are they all contributing to that conclusion? If yes, your story is coherent. If not, those are irrelevant data because it's not making a difference. And again, it's not contributing to your conclusion.